Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jeremy with Veritas Financial. I have a brief discussion I want to go through with you this afternoon entitled Fear, Destroying and Transferring Wealth Since 1819. 1819 was the year of the first financial panic, actually, of the modern financial age. What I want to go through in this discussion is two things, really. A brief historical context of market declines in general, and then kind of some examples and things to think about as we go through this period of market volatility. So first, to provide some historical context, let's just go through some of the most recent bear markets. In the early 60s, we were on the brink of a war with Russia. There was the Bay of Pigs attack. Things got a little shaky for a while. The market was down 28% over a period of 6 months. The late 60s and early 70s, that is, we had the Vietnam War. We had turmoil at home. The market was down 36% over 18 months. In the 70s, we had an oil embargo. I was not alive, but I've been told we had long lines to even purchase gasoline. The market was down 48% over a period of 21 months. In the early 80s, we had a lot of economic problems. We had inflation, we had high unemployment. The market was down 28% over 21 months. Black Monday, October 19, 1987. The market was down 23% in a day. And we lost about 34% over a period of 3 months. The dot-com bust, a very long, 30-month long, excruciating market correction. The market lost about 50% as many of these internet startups evaporated into thin air. Then the Great Recession. The market fell over 56% over that period. 17 months, financial firms going out of business or getting bailed out. And now we have the coronavirus panic. Market is down about 32% from its high in February, and we're on day 29. So just to give you some historical perspective in that section, market declines, corrections, panics, all nothing new, all just part of the investing experience. We have been here before. In the next section, I want to talk about some more practical things, some guidance, some examples to get you through this period of market volatility mentally and psychologically. So whenever human beings are facing a situation or facing decisions, if we face them under stress, duress, anxiety, fear, we're using a totally different part of our mind than if we can rationalize it as a rational and logical issue. So that's how I've tried to present this in this next section. So as a rational human being, in any market correction or decline, the first question as I process it is this the end? Like, seriously, folks, is this the end of the markets, the end of Western civilization? Is it all going to unravel from here? Because I mean, that's a logical question. If you think that it is, then you need to go out and take whatever drastic measures you deem necessary and appropriate for the end of the world. If you do not think it's the end of the world, you can move on to the next step where you have the choice. You can sell, you can stay put. A third option would be to even invest more money. So if you sell in that world, you also have a couple of options. Are you selling and never going to invest again? Or are you selling and just waiting for it to feel better in the markets and then come back? So let's look at selling and staying out forever. If you sell and you never come back, and we're correct in our assumption that the world didn't end and things recovered, if I took all of my money, we're just using 100,000 in this example, and we put it in the bank and we earned 1% for 20 years, I grow my money to 122,000. If I took that same 100,000, left it in the market, grew at 8% for 20 years, I had 466,000. That's a difference of $344,000. Again, if we're right in our assumption and our decisions and the world is not ending and things will recover, I am guaranteed a big opportunity cost if I sell and I never come back. But most people don't do this. They're more likely to entertain this option. They want to sell because they're panicking, they're concerned, but they know the market makes money, so they do want to come back. So let's say in my simple example, I invest $10,000 in a mutual fund. It's priced at $100 a share, so I have 100 shares. What I own is 100 shares. And since I have terrible luck, it goes down to $70 a share immediately. A 30% decline. I panic. I have to get out. I sell. I get $7,000. But I still want to invest because I know investors make money. So I'm going to wait until the market recovers and the fund is back up to $100 a share. I'll feel safe then. I'm like, oh, well, now it's time to go in. Now is the time to start this up again. I take my $7,000. I invest it. It's at $100 a share. What do I buy? 70 shares. Notice anything there? Now let's assume the fund goes up again and it goes up by 10%, and now the fund is at $110 a share. My 70 shares times $110 is now $7,700. But notice something. I still haven't recovered my original investment. I got out, I got back in, but I'm still not made whole. But notice, had I not sold and I still had my 100 original shares, by the new price of 110, I'd have $11,000. I'd be $1,000 ahead versus in the hole. By panicking, you ensure the very loss you are trying to avoid. In this right here, if you really get this, this is why investors average during their lifetime 3 to 4% a year when the market averages 8 to 10% a year. This is why they lose out on returns. They are not able to be disciplined over an entire lifetime. So in summary, if you believe that things will get back to normal, life will go on, it never makes sense, even mathematically, to panic. So let's walk through an example that I think people are a little more familiar with just on a gut level. So we'll use the housing market. We know the housing market fell apart in '07. Let's assume I had a $150,000 house in Oshkosh. Its market value now out there, let's say we're in 2008, it's now 120,000. If I try to sell it, that's what I'd have to offer, and then it would sell. Will my house, if I'd asked somebody in '08, well, will your house be worth more in the future? They would have said, sure. And it would be intuitive as far as what would be required. They'd say, well, the housing market has to stabilize and the economy has to recover. And my house isn't worth 120, it's worth 150. It'll come back. I can just hear people saying that. Did I sell my house at that time and move into an apartment to cut my losses? No. No, nobody did that, really. They knew it would come back. What's important to understand is the distinction between a change in market value and the loss of an asset. Nobody wants to lose an asset. In the housing market, the value of the home fell from 150 to 200,000. But we know market valuation is subjective and fluid. It changes. It's not constant. What didn't happen is nobody came to my house and cut off 20% of it. I didn't lose any house. It had a different value at the time, but I didn't lose any of my house. So now in a couple of weeks, keep in mind when you get your 401k statements, when you get your investment statements, you're not losing shares. It's only their prices that are changing. You're not losing your actual asset. So in this last section here, let's focus on what we can control. Even in markets like this, the 3 simple rules of investing still apply. If you want to beat inflation long term, own equities. Diversify globally and rebalance regularly. So what can you do? If you are still working, building your investing nest egg, or if you're older and your income is still over your expenses and you have money to invest, might be a good time to do it when prices are low. If you have accounts like 401ks, you can rebalance them. Right now, if you have a balanced portfolio that has stocks and bonds in it, you might want to sell some of the bonds and reinvest in stocks to bring your portfolio back up to its target percentages. Even in closing here in this last section, even if you're in the distribution phase where you are actively withdrawing from your investments to take income, a couple of things to keep in mind. First, don't panic. This too someday will pass. Postpone big withdrawals if you can. Reduce your monthly withdrawals, again, if you can. And focus on the long term. Know that the money that you're going to need in the next 3, 6, 8, 12 months, that amount of money is not all of your portfolio. You do not need all of it right now, this minute, this instant in time. You still have a long-term horizon. So with that, stay safe, stay the course, stay sane. As markets evolve and change, we'll be here to put out additional videos, and we hope you found this helpful. Thanks and have a great day.